Right now, you are staring at your expensive gym shoes. A heavy, suffocating wave of guilt washes over you, because you absolutely cannot find the motivation to go run on a motorized rubber belt for 45 minutes. You label yourself lazy. You assume your lack of drive is a moral defect, a catastrophic failure of modern discipline. You feel entirely broken. But for 99% of human history, the concept of a workout was a biological absurdity. Your ancestors never intentionally lifted heavy stones just to put them back down. They never sprinted in place. The truth behind your modern reluctance to exercise will permanently dismantle your fitness guilt. Your laziness is not a character flaw. It is a highly calibrated ancient survival mechanism. Let's start with what we know for certain about human movement. 120,000 years ago, deep in the Nephid Desert of modern-day Saudi Arabia, a small band of humans walked across the muddy banks of a prehistoric watering hole called Lake Alathar. They left fossilized footprints perfectly preserved in the sediment. Those prints reveal an unambiguous truth about early human life. They were relentlessly, brutally on the move. They tracked wild game across unforgiving, sun-scorched landscapes, expending staggering physical effort just to secure tomorrow's meal. But we must be devastatingly honest about what survival actually looked like. The ancient world was not a pristine nature retreat. It was a waking nightmare of caloric desperation. During the brutal winters of the Pleistocene, humans did not eat beautifully roasted venison every night. They starved. They survived by desperately smashing open the rotting, scavenged skulls of dead herbivores, just to swallow the rancid brain matter for a handful of fat. This is exactly why your brain still treats a greasy cheeseburger like a holy artifact. It still remembers when fat was the only thing keeping you alive. They spent back-breaking hours scraping the frozen dirt until their fingernails cracked, hunting for buried tubers or swallowing live grubs just to secure an agonizing 100 calories. Starvation was the default state of the human animal. Every single calorie was a matter of life and death. Because of this horrific reality, modern science made a massive assumption. Ancient hunter-gatherers must have possessed hypercharged metabolisms, burning thousands more calories a day than you do sitting at a desk. But here is where the mystery unravels. In 2012, an evolutionary anthropologist named Dr. Herman Poncer from Duke University decided to test this theory in real time. He traveled to northern Tanzania to study the Hadza tribe, one of the last remaining traditional hunter-gatherer societies on Earth. Poncer used an extremely precise chemical artifact called doubly labeled water. He gave the Hadza water laced with heavy traceable isotopes, allowing his team to track the exact mathematical carbon footprint of their metabolism over several weeks. These people were walking miles a day. They were violently digging for deep tubers, hunting wild warthogs, and surviving in the harsh African bush. Now, some of you are thinking, they obviously burned twice as much energy as us. Fair guess. But you are entirely wrong. When the lab results came back, the data completely broke modern biology. The Hadza hunter-gatherers burned an average of 2,600 calories a day. A modern, desk-bound office worker sitting beneath synthetic fluorescent lights burns the exact same 2,600 calories a day. The calorie burn was identical. 2,600 calories is the equivalent of hunting a wild boar for 6 hours in 100-degree heat. Yet your body burns that exact same amount, just sitting in an ergonomic chair staring at spreadsheets. The math was impossible. This isn't a miscalculation. It is a profound, miraculous design known as the constrained energy model. Your body operates on a rigid, biological budget. Think of it like a smartphone with 5% battery left. When you open a heavy app like a video game, the phone doesn't magically generate more battery. It dims the screen. It turns off the Wi-Fi. And it stops background updates to survive. Your body is doing the exact same thing. When you suddenly increase physical activity, your metabolism does not simply burn more total fuel. Instead, it ruthlessly steals energy from other invisible biological systems. It downregulates your immune responses. It suppresses stress hormones. It slows down cellular turnover just to balance the ledger. Your brain is a microscopic accountant. It knows that for 300,000 years, wasting a single calorie meant a slow, freezing death. Therefore, it deliberately engineered a powerful psychological barrier to stop you from moving unnecessarily. And this is not unique to humans. Look at the most terrifying apex predators on the planet. A 400-pound silverback gorilla possesses enough raw, devastating muscle density to tear a human being in half. Yet in the wild, a silverback spends roughly 80% of its day sitting in the jungle, doing absolutely nothing. An African lion, the undisputed apex hunter of the savannah, sleeps for 20 hours a day. Nature does not reward burning calories for fun. It rewards ruthless, unambiguous energy conservation. The animals that moved without a purpose died. The animals that sat still inherited the earth. Your modern laziness is not a disease. It is an evolutionary superpower. It is the exact ancient software that kept your ancestors from starving to death when the earth was frozen and food was scarce. When your brain begs you to stay on the couch, it is actively trying to save your life. So, why do we feel so much deep psychological shame about resting? For 300,000 years, movement meant survival. 10,000 years ago, it meant farming. 5,000 years ago, it meant building empires. And then, in the blink of an evolutionary eye, the Industrial Revolution erupted, and we stopped moving. We didn't just invent tractors to make life easier. We systematically engineered physical effort completely out of human existence. We built a world where thousands of synthetic calories arrive at your door, with the tap of a glass screen. But your ancient organs still require physical stress to keep your blood pumping. So, a massive capitalist machine stepped in to commodify the void. The fitness industry. We weaponized our own biology for profit. We pay exorbitant monthly subscriptions to lift heavy discs of iron in brightly lit rooms. We buy specialized foam mats to stretch on. We force ourselves to run on electric treadmills while staring at television screens. And we drink synthetic powders out of plastic shakers just to simulate the sheer exhaustion of running from a predator. If you dropped a 120,000-year-old hunter from Lake Alathar into a modern gym, they would think they had entered a terrifying psychological torture chamber. They would watch wealthy humans frantically burning precious energy, going absolutely nowhere, and assume we had completely lost our minds. You are a wild animal, trapped in a synthetic digital zoo. You are paying rent to use a running wheel. Tomorrow morning, you will likely look at your expensive running shoes again. You will feel that familiar, heavy dread creeping into your chest, exactly like you always do. But underneath that manufactured modern guilt, there is a brilliant, silent intelligence at work. Your biology is not broken. It is remembering the freezing nights, the empty stomachs, and the brutal mathematics of survival that allowed your lineage to continue breathing. If even one of your direct ancestors had wasted their precious energy running just for the thrill of it, you wouldn't possess the heartbeat rhythmically thumping in your chest right now. You would simply not exist. We didn't invent laziness. We inherited. You are carrying the precise genetic code of the survivors who knew exactly when to stop. We live in an artificial world that shames you for sitting still, completely forgetting one devastating truth. Sitting still is the only reason we survived the wild long enough to build this world in the first place.